right, good afternoon. Thank you for hanging out on the last day with us. We're going to breathe some new life into this panel and talk about doing that with cartoons and comic books. So I'm Davis Brimer. I'm going to kind of help lead a discussion, but make it more kind of a casual chat amongst some very talented creators and marketers on stage here. So what I thought we could do is just start with brief introductions. And Dele, you want to kick us off?
Sure. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining. I'm Dele Atanda. I head up a company called Media, and we created a Meta Knights saga, a crypto comic franchise called Meta Knights. We were actually the first comic minted on chain back in 2019. So we completed out a full saga on it. We ran a crowdfunding campaign for it on Start Engine, raised $1 million, produced 13 episodes. We're building a Lunar Punk story world around it as well, and a portfolio of NFTs that basically connect the comic saga with the game and community and all of that.
So yeah, hi everyone. My name is Mark, where I founded Produmark 265, where we help companies and people leverage emerging technologies, if it's Web3, AI, blockchain, NFTs, where we help them and be realistically where they can adopt and explore these emerging technologies. On the other hand, we build various products, like a new product that we're working on, Piazza.io, where we're creating a new ecosystem where people can social and network all together, rather using multiple apps and consolidating the social side with the networking side.
Hello friends, my name is Wilson, founder of The Littles. Littles is a children's media company. We partner with Time to create animation. We also have a gaming platform that currently has 15,000 MAU. Then yeah, our secondary transacted volume eclipsed $30 million. So I think it's something that we're really excited about.
Great, thanks guys. And I'm Davis Brimer, founder of Gamesodes. Gamesodes in Spectre Gadget. So we're actually launching our platform as an interactive TV show platform. So think like Netflix, but all the shows are gamified and interactive. And so we're launching with Inspector Gadget and started to kind of bring the classic character back to life with some fun trading cards that are on the blockchain. And so I want to use that word to kind of launch us into conversation, because when you think about entertainment, and traditionally passive forms of entertainment like cartoons and comic books, they're engaging on their own, right? Like these are things that we'll just sit down and enjoy. So why blockchain, right? Like what does blockchain technology, what do NFTs bring to these forms of media? Why do it? Why even do it?
I'm happy to start on that. Actually, when we launched our crowdfunding campaign, this was the question we had to address. Why blockchain? What does blockchain do? For me, it really comes down to the fundamental of digital. Comics are a great format for storytelling, and it was actually a learning for us that people want physical, hard copy versions of the comics as well. So we launched that as well, and you can get our comics on Amazon. But our vision was always around digital comics. And for example, our stories, our episodes are available as motion comics. We call them night books, and these are like animations. Now, that can't work in a physical context. It has to be digital. I mean, it could do on TV, but it's not really TV friendly. It's more kind of iPad, mobile device friendly. So it's a genre of comics, if you will, that's very digital. And when you come to the issue of digital media, well, replicability, this goes back to Napster. This is the problem that we've always had with digital media when it comes to the digital age, that it can easily be replicated, and therefore the business model is completely thrown upside down. Blockchain gives us a way to be able to address that.
So yeah, I would say, purely coming from my gaming myself, where I would say, the gambling side, where everyone wants everything fast, everything seamless, and, if it's primary KPI, I would say, is always withdrawal and deposits. something that I saw throughout the years and something that we've been implementing as well by utilizing the underlying tech of the blockchain itself is when it comes to produce different loyalty streams, I would say, for the customers themselves, because at the end of the day, you know, every customer wants that something different. It falls down to the entertainment part, and eventually they can connect easily with multiple brands. You know, at the end of the day, there's different brands, and you know, it can be blue or red, but you know, it's all about the functionality and how much value it brings to them themselves utilizing the platform or the game itself. On the other hand, you know, it's the same when as mentioned on the loyalty side, a customer himself, you know, he always wants something exciting, which I see that with the blockchain we can be more complex and offer different tangible products, I would say, and even incorporate the marketing and product side all together.
So last night I had a chat with the head of children's and kids at Time Studio. And it's a very interesting topic about how, from a institution standpoint, that they too view that blockchain and NFTs unlock a completely different business model altogether. Typically speaking, when it comes down to creation of animation in a traditional media standpoint, you go from concept all the way up until production. Seeing a final product would take a year, 3 years if you're lucky. And with NFTs and blockchain, it flips the model upside down, because now you can actually go to customers directly to actually have a community form before you even launch the product and be able to co-create that together. And that itself is something that is very innovative and is very disruptive to the media industry that NFTs and blockchain has brought to our world.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would just add on to these great comments that, you know, when you're talking about media franchises, and you know, in the real world, if you buy a shirt or a hat of your favorite characters or a comic book, right, you get to keep it. It's yours. It'll never be taken back from you. You can sell it in a garage sale if you want. You can put it in a box and come back to it later. And so we just believe fundamentally that why shouldn't that be the same in the virtual world? You know, a lot of us have virtual identities and take pride in what we have there. So if you buy something on the internet, a digital item, you should get to keep it forever and do what you want with it. So pretty simple concept. But and I'm sure a lot of us have had this issue before. You know, the acronym NFT can oftentimes have a fan walk up to you and then they'll just turn right around and walk away. And we experienced that. We announced that we were launching with Inspector Gadget at San Diego Comic-Con last year. And we flooded the streets of downtown San Diego with in-costume Inspector Gadgets, handing out a flyer to redeem a free commemorative card. And the flyer had the acronym NFT on it. And there would be a lot of people who would just throw the flyer on the ground and say, forget that, I'm not doing that. So if somebody's watching this one day and is skeptical about it, what would you say to them? Like, why is it actually beneficial to them as a fan, as an enjoyer of the media?
Want me to go first? Okay. So I think the first thing is, you know, the term NFT is, it's a bit of a stupid term when you really unpack it, right? You know, this whole kind of fungibility, non-fungibility, you know, it's like a dollar bill is actually non-fungible, right? Because each one has a unique serial number. But to all intents and purposes, it operates as a fungible currency. So the problem that we have with this industry as a whole is that it's been very much engineering-led, engineering and financially led. And the problem is that engineers tend to see the world in a very binary context. And I count myself in that community, so I'm not saying this, it's not a them, us thing. But the reality is, the world's a lot more complex than that. So this fungibility thing, it's a kind of a bit of an abstraction that's kind of meaningless. I mean, there's high, medium, low fungibility, but that's the first problem, and I think but that translates into a culture that's exclusive, that it makes it difficult for people to get engaged with. I think that's one. I think obviously there've been a lot of scams in the industry as well. There's been a corruption within the industry, so NFTs have become a bit of a toxic term in that sense. But I think, to ultimately what we're talking about is collectible media, ownable media, like DVDs or CDs or comic books or books. No one can say that any of those industries are scams. And we know that the importance that they play culturally. Now, the reality is the world is moving into a digital paradigm. So we're just looking for equivalence in that digital world. And I think that's what is really at the heart of all of this.
No, yeah, eventually I super agree with you. And to add on that, at the end of the day, NFTs are, again, they're a technology where understanding the underlying tech, is key. And I see, primary goal is education about all of these new technologies. Reason why personally I nowadays rather focusing on Web3, blockchain, AI, I just call them emerging technologies because, they go all hand in hand. They complement each other. But yeah, when it comes to NFTs, I see, if it's going back in the past, I'm pretty sure we didn't used to ask each other, what's your SMTP server to send the first email. If we're on MSN, Yahoo, Gmail came in. And I feel it's the same for NFTs, It's, unfortunately, it's a toxic word nowadays, because if you go on the internet and write, NFT news, most probably the population will come up, negative news rather real world value about it. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's a powerful technology as other technologies like we have on back-end development, front-end development, which is something that can be utilized between everything else.
So this Christmas, my nephew asked me to buy him $100 in V-Bucks. I'm like, what do you do with V-Bucks? I don't get it. He's like, oh, you know what? Marvel just released a new skin. And I'd like to buy that because it looks cool. I want to flex in front of my friends. And that itself inspired me a lot to think about how to approach NFTs, digital collectibility. And for us, I would say our generation, we feel like, oh, NFTs and tech and everything, it's something we have to learn. But for the kids, they're digital natives. They don't need to cut up everything and whatnot because that's their life. That's how they live their life. They don't have distinguishment between the two. The digital itself becomes an identity and a part of what they stand for. And I think that as we continue on the path of NFTs and whatnot, we're going to go to a stage where we start to embrace that as a part of our identity. And that itself is how we're going to be able to explain it to our future generation. We don't need to explain it to them. That they're already living that right now.
Yeah, I mean, in a way, digital ownership is almost becoming expected, I would say, amongst younger generations and those who are adopting it today. And so I like to give an example of, okay, why is this actually beneficial to the consumer of the media or entertainment is, how many of us have spent money on an app or bought a digital item only to have the company decide to discontinue it and it's no longer supported and now it's gone and your money's wasted. With NFTs and blockchain technology, that can't happen. It's yours. It doesn't matter if the company goes out of business or doesn't support it anymore, decides they don't want it out there. It's yours. You own it. That's one. And then how many of us have like old phones or laptops where we had like pictures and media stored on them that are just like somewhere in a box that maybe or maybe not you can boot it up again in the future. With blockchain technology, it's right there. Like it's distributed on hundreds or thousands of hard drives around the world that you can go and access from at any time. So there really are very large benefits to it. But so let's bring this into an even more tangible concept here. I'd like for each of us to share like one just really cool thing that we were able to do with our media entertainment that wouldn't have been possible without the blockchain. Like, so let's sell people on this. Like, why is it actually so cool?
I guess I'm in the hot seat here, huh? Yeah, no, and I think spot on. You know, it's the onus is on us to deliver new experiences that showcase to people. So one thing we're doing with Meta Knights that we're actually doing now, and there's some stuff we've got coming down the road that's going to be really mind-blowing, but where we are today, so we basically have a saga, like our first season is 13 episodes, and we have, so the episodes are available as NFTs when you buy the motion comics, and they have three different covers, so with different levels of rarity. Then we have 2 PFPs, a male and a female PFP, and then we have what we call night cards, and they're like trading cards, animated trading cards, where there are 13 of those. So, and again, we've got still and animated formats of the comic. So what happens is when you buy the night cards, it activates a comic. Each night card activates a specific comic. So when we complete the season now, when we release all 13 episodes, what will happen is we'll then pull together a graphic novel, which is kind of what you did in the traditional world with comics. You know, you release them in series, and then you aggregate them all into a graphic novel. But what we'll then do is the collectors who have all of the episodes, they'll get a collector's book, which has got their own personalized cover based off of their PFP. And then it's got their combinations of covers that they've got through their collections. So now they've got this super collection, effectively, where they've got the graphic novel, they've got their individual ones, they've got this collector's one that edifies all of that, and their PFPs also then have derivative rights. So now they've actually effectively got this whole foundational story, which is, you know, being professionally written and curated and whatnot, which can be a basis for them to take their story forward in our story world game.
Nice.
Very cool.
That's interesting, yeah. So yeah, I would say a good example from my end is eventually it's purely on loyalty, again, across iGaming, where, you know, I guess everyone is aware on online casinos and sports betting platforms. So eventually we created a sort of loyalty system where if you're into a certain game category yourself, you purchase a certain NFT. Then eventually this NFT will put you in a different like sort of community where everyone can communicate with each other and play against each other. So eventually we incorporated the PvP side across the gambling industry, where you can create your own specific room, you can invite your friends, you can have a roulette table, you can have a blackjack table. Eventually then with the NFT, an avatar will evolve, and obviously the end goal will be getting into the metaverse, though obviously I would say it's very early, especially when it comes to devices and so on. But looking at it from an aspect of the technology side and even from an operational side, I would say, where you have millions of users logging every day, looking for new games, looking for entertaining themselves, which help them easily get educated about games, because at the end of the day, you know, there's a lot of players opening up accounts just by getting referred, or, you know, watching influencers or streamers online. So it created that sort of element that we were educating the customer, but on the other hand, they had the liberty to connect with others and evolve their gaming experience, rather than going traditionally to an online casino, or else, you know, staying at home on their mobile, you know, right-clicking their mouse or pressing their mobile. So it evolved like a sort of new vibe for them, which is pretty turning out well, you know. And I would say, again, we're very early, so, and obviously it's another topic, I would say, where I would say regulation is a big part of all of this, if it's just NFT technology or the blockchain side. But yeah, it's something fun and cool to see evolve.
Something that NFTs have unlocked for me personally, which would unlock this type of value for all of you guys, is the people you meet. It's incredible to be on this panel with all these amazing pioneers. It's amazing that with NFT, we're able to meet By the way, I'm from Vancouver, BC. There's nothing to do there, just rain, okay? So it's incredible for me as a small business owner, having the ability to partner up with the president of Time because of NFTs. And now we're creating a show featuring my daughter because our NFT series is based on that. Nowhere in my mind had I ever even dreamt of this type of interaction. And the reason why I want to share this example with you guys is because there is a lot of smart people, forward-thinking people, all believing in this tech. And for all you bright minds out there that is actually attending this, to try to absorb as much information, to take as much value as you can away from this in your own journey, really put yourself out there. Start creating content. Bring out your ideas. Bring value to other people. And that's how you're going to be able to attract like-minded people who sees that in you, who would want to be able to connect with you all around the world. And this is where we get the power back into the people. And I think that's what NFTs blockchain has so graciously allowed me to have. So that's my piece of sharing for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, the community aspect of it is just phenomenal. And you know, on the media side, I mean, what Gamesodes is all about is taking passive entertainment and making it interactive. And so, you know, you're going to be able to watch remastered episodes of the classic Inspector Gadget on an interactive screen, tap on the gadgets when they're activated, and then collect them. And then if you cancel your subscription or no longer want to be on the platform, you get to keep them. They're yours. We can't take them back. We're not going to say, hey, you have to continue staying here paying us to keep what you've already paid for. So there's only benefits here. We also we keep getting more time, so we must be doing something right here.
I feel like I'm in the metaverse times.
So yeah, like the countdown was counting up. So that also, maybe we can kind of take a quick break of talking and see if there's any questions from the audience. No questions at all? Awesome, let's do it.
So, so Will made the point about the next generation of users. How important is young audience to growing what you guys are all working on? How important is that? And is there like a target that that you think is really going to begin to embrace cartoons, animation on Web3?
We're a children's media company, and they are our audience. So, and families are our audience. And so it's integral to everything that we do in terms of this media, blockchain, and interactability. NFTs itself unlocks 3 core characteristics that has never been done before. One is having the financial ability to trade, which we all know, all the degens in here, okay? The second is being able to co-create together. Once again, giving the power back to the people. And kids nowadays, my nephew has a channel of 100,000 subscribers. I'm like, what do you do? He's like, oh, I just stream my Minecraft and what I do with my Minecraft and how my room is and everything. I'm like, 100,000 people watch you do these pixel art stuff?
Is he doing that on Twitch?
YouTube.
He does on YouTube.
Yeah, and I'm like, that's not fair. It took me 5 years to grow my YouTube channel to 150K. You're a little kid. And for me, that is another, and the reason why I keep bringing my nephew into this is because what better way to understand how to create something for them than to talk to the source. So whoever you guys are creating to, talk to the source, understand their pain point, understand what they're going through, and you're gonna be able to learn so much from that. And imagine that's only one kid out there. There are 200+ million kids in the United States. Just think about how crazy if everyone is co-creating together. And we providing a platform, all of us providing a platform for these kids to co-create, that's where we're gonna be able to reach the masses in ways that we can't even think of today.
And I would add on with that co word, something that we are very focused on is the ability to co-view and co-play and co-participate. And so we actually very strategically chose Inspector Gadget and convincingly went to the company that owns it for the license because of that nostalgia value. Like, it's a cartoon that adults still enjoy watching today, but it's kids content, right? It was made for 4 and 5 year olds. So that's a big aspect on our end is not just kids, but what we call kidults, which we pretty much are all kidults here, I think, yeah.
Yeah, and I'd just like chime in on that as well. I think the lady who gave the presentation before gave a really great example about, is it Disney that she said? The Pixel Studio kind of approach.
Pixar, you mean?
Pixar,
Yeah,
Pixar. There you are. Thank you. God, struggling. But yeah, where she said, you've got the kids see it on one level, the teenagers see it on another level, the adults see it on another level, and I think that's the challenge of the storytelling, the creative content. But it's also really important on the operations and business, because our content, our target audience is Gen Zalphas, as I'm told they're called, right?
Yeah.
But the issue is that, we did a crowdfunding campaign, and the majority of our investors are Gen Xers or millennials. And so you have to be able to talk to that constituent as well, and that's the active crypto community. Of course, longer term, the revolution is going to happen in the young. There is no revolution for them. It's just the way that the future effectively is. But you have to get there, and the path towards getting there needs to be quite encompassing. So you do need to have a part of your proposition that works to the power bases that are in play today.
I mean, Dele, the Gen Alpha is still being born, so by definition, you have to market to parents, right?
Absolutely.
And I would say there's Gen Z as well.
Yes.
After that, which, last thing to say, I would say, behind every brand there's a story. And with using blockchain and NFTs, I see that we can enhance the stories and we can easily connect, as I would say the 4 of us are agreeing on that. We have multiple audiences that we need to attract. So by utilizing this technology, we can easily connect and let them contribute back to what we're building or what we're evolving.
Any questions from the audience? Yeah. Yeah.
It's very true. So the observation that if you buy an NFT that's part of a game, the game has to stay operational for the NFT to have utility. True, but you can also consider that since you own that NFT, somebody else can create a game with it. You could create a game with it. You can take it with you and do what you want with it. So you're not actually fully dependent on that originating platform, would be my response to that, I suppose.
And there is a big move to interoperability as well. So you'll be able to take, in the next 3 to 5 years, it's going to be common practice to be able to take NFTs from one game and move them into another game and have certain value or attributes follow you into that as well. So I think that's a really interesting thing about the NFT. It's an object, and that object can continue to evolve over time. And you can continue to evolve the relationship with the object holder over time as well. I think that's a really fundamentally important thing.
Like a deck of playing cards, right? Like, how many games are made out of a deck of playing cards?
On a bright note, I think it's also a badge of honor. You're one of those guys that got rug pulled, that kind of thing. It's like, yes, we survived together.
I guess it's the positive side. You have to be positive in this space, I would say.
So, go ahead.
Yes, I joined this room serendipitously through a colleague. We run an empowerment community out of Jersey City called Sasson Studios. Sasson means flavor in Spanish. We run some events there on advocacy and onboarding. We decided for fun to just start drawing characters based off of us and our community. For somebody that's not from this world, right? Because we're doing it out of pure love, and I think that's how it also is. What was the thing I said that caught your interest?
The NFTs that you're doing for a comic that I think that you put out. So for me, I have no idea other than we have the characters and what kind of utilities, and you have a whole episode inside of NFT.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm trying to understand if I'm gonna.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you've got this NFT technology is a kind of very horizontal base level technology. And the key to it is that it allows you to create an object, and in that object you can put content or access rights or the means to unlock experiences. And that's kind of all it is. And when you think about it in that context, then you kind of just have to think about, well, what is your project? What is it that you are passionate about? And what is your community? What's the community that you're trying to reach with this project that you're passionate about? And then you can then start to think, well, what can I give to that community that will be of value to it? And are those things physical? Are they digital? And how can I use this NFT object as a way to unlock that value for the community? And I think if you can crack that, and if you can identify a large enough community, and it doesn't have to be huge, but just enough to make the project sustainable, then you kind of have a winning formula.
I had a question.
I was going to say, add to that, because I kind of heard a little bit of also, how do I get into this, right? Because if you aren't aware of it, it's quite foreign. I'm still learning, just find a mentor, find somebody who's in it, and there's thousands of people, within this square building. Just find somebody you get along with and that's willing to, kind of hold your hand a little bit and walk you through it.
And that eventually something that I would add is that it's key to think outside of the box, I would say. That rather just thinking traditionally and looking at, traditional processes. At the end of the day, nowadays, even there's companies that are creating NFTs for every employee. So when you get to the building, you can open up the door rather than having the traditional card. Why? They're very expensive, buying every card for every employee. So creating an NFT collection for the employees themselves, it's easier for them to get into the building. It's less cost for the business itself, so it's a win-win. And obviously everyone is happy, he has his own avatar that then eventually you can incorporate it with your internal chats, for example, or internal CRM programs or tools. So yeah, that's what I mean. There's various processes and applications that we can mimic through NFTs, which at the end of the day are easier to scale and maintain.
Just to add to that piece, being able to crowdsource ideas from your community is what is the key differentiator from traditional media and the media that we have today. It's because you have nothing to lose. The answers are in your community, right? That's the reason why, I'm not sure if you're here, I keep bringing back the example of me talking to my nephew who's 10 years old, so I can get all the cheat code.
Is that the Minecraft?
That was a Minecraft kid, yeah. I still hate him. I'm envious of him, goddamn. But nonetheless, yeah, it's talk to them, right? These are the people that give you the answer, because none of us have the answer. We're not your community.
So I tend to have these conversations. I picked up a podcast because I'm constantly talking to these people, and I'm privy to this information that the rest of the people aren't. So I've got all these stories, and I try to educate people around the use cases of NFTs, and now he's in the entertainment space. We're starting to collaborate. So now I'm I got this IP. I understand this. Just that merge. So to your point, absolutely, that's where a lot of this content's coming from. Exactly. Because then those users take pride in that work that we're putting out, and that's where
That's exactly the key. Keep going down that path, and you're gonna find some secret sauce there. Sometimes it's all about tinkering, the tweaks here and there. The micro movements is how you navigate this tightrope, because there's no playbook. There's no right or wrong answer. It's the micro movements that you go oh, this way kind of works. It's vibing. Oh, this way kind of works, and that's how you kind of find your way and navigate.
Like to thank you guys for an outstanding panel and for all the interchange with us. Thank you.